The U.S. Navy spent $8 billion on a destroyer that doesn't work. The USS Zumwalt, the most expensive warship ever built, and its main guns can't fire because the ammunition costs $800,000 per round. The Navy literally can't afford to shoot them. For years, military analysts called it the biggest failure in naval history, a floating monument to government waste. Congress held hearings. Admirals testified. The program was slashed from 32 ships to just 3. And then the Navy did something nobody expected. They ripped out the useless guns and installed hypersonic missiles instead, the deadliest weapons on Earth. And suddenly, the biggest failure in the Navy became the most dangerous warship in the world. Let me explain how an $8 billion disaster just turned into China's worst nightmare. The Zumwalt was supposed to revolutionize naval warfare. Designed in the early 2000s, it looked like something from a science fiction movie. Angular stealth hull, tumble-home design where the sides slope inward, composite deck house that makes it invisible to radar. On radar screens, this 600-foot destroyer looks like a small fishing boat. That stealth capability alone made it worth building, but the Navy wanted more. They installed 2 advanced gun systems, massive cannons designed to fire rocket-assisted projectiles over 60 miles. The idea was shore bombardment. The Zumwalt would sit offshore, invisible to enemy radar, and rain precision shells on targets inland. It sounded perfect, except nobody did the math on ammunition costs. Each long-range land attack projectile cost $800,000. Not 800, not 8,000. 800,000 per shell. The Navy planned to fire hundreds of rounds per mission. Do the math. A single bombardment mission would cost hundreds of millions of dollars just in ammunition. The Pentagon looked at those numbers and canceled the ammo program, which left the Zumwalt with 2 giant guns that couldn't shoot. 32,000 pounds of dead weight sitting on the deck. The Navy had spent $4.4 billion developing the advanced gun system. All of it wasted. The ship commissioned in 2016 became a joke. $8 billion for a destroyer with no working weapons. Congress wanted answers. The Navy had none. But here's what everyone missed. The Zumwalt still had something no other ship possessed: stealth. That tumble-home hull and composite deck house made it the quietest, hardest to detect surface warship ever built. And it had something else: space. Those massive gun mounts took up huge sections of the forward deck, and if you removed the guns, you suddenly had room for something much more valuable: missile tubes. Specifically, tubes for the Navy's new conventional prompt strike hypersonic weapon. And in 2024, the Navy made the decision. Rip out the advanced gun systems. Install hypersonic missile launchers. Transform the Zumwalt from a failed bombardment platform into the world's first hypersonic missile destroyer. The conventional prompt strike missile is a game changer. It's a boost-glide hypersonic weapon. That means it launches on a rocket booster, reaches the edge of space, then releases a glide vehicle that maneuvers at speeds exceeding Mach 5. That's over 3,800 miles per hour. From launch to impact, the missile stays in the atmosphere, making unpredictable course corrections. Current missile defense systems can't track it, can't predict its path, can't intercept it. And the Zumwalt will carry 12 of them. Each missile has a range exceeding 1,700 miles. That's the distance from San Diego to Denver. The Zumwalt can sit off the coast of China, invisible on radar, and strike targets deep inland before Chinese forces even know it's there. Here's why this matters. China has spent 2 decades building anti-access area denial capabilities, long-range missiles designed to keep U.S. carriers away from Taiwan. The DF-21D and DF-26 anti-ship ballistic missiles can hit carriers from 1,500 miles away. The strategy was simple. If the U.S. can't get carriers close to Taiwan, the U.S. can't defend Taiwan. China controls the battle space. But hypersonic missiles on a stealth destroyer change everything. The Zumwalt doesn't need to get close. It can launch from beyond the range of Chinese sensors. And because it's stealthy, China won't know it's there until missiles are already inbound. Those missiles travel so fast that from launch to impact is measured in minutes. There's no time to evacuate command centers, no time to move ships, no time to respond. It's the ultimate first strike weapon. And here's the part that should terrify Chinese military planners. The Zumwalt is just the first. The Navy is converting all 3 Zumwalt-class destroyers to hypersonic platforms: USS Zumwalt, USS Michael Monsoor, and USS Lyndon B. Johnson. 3 stealth destroyers, 36 hypersonic missiles total, operating independently across the Pacific. China has no way to track them. Their destroyers show up on radar like aircraft carriers. The Zumwalt shows up like a rowboat. By the time China detects a launch, the missiles are already in terminal phase, already maneuvering toward their targets, already unstoppable. This is what $8 billion just bought. Not a failed gun platform, a weapon system China has no defense against. Let's talk about what happens in a Taiwan scenario. China invades. Amphibious landing craft head toward Taiwan's beaches. The U.S. responds, but carriers stay back, outside the range of Chinese missiles. Too risky to bring them closer. Except the Zumwalt doesn't stay back. It operates alone, stealth hull invisible, cruising at 30 knots toward the Taiwan Strait. Chinese satellites can't find it. Chinese destroyers can't track it. And then it launches. 12 hypersonic missiles, targets, Chinese command ships, amphibious assault vessels, port facilities loading reinforcements. The missiles hit before China knows they were fired. Troop transports explode, command and control collapses, and the Zumwalt is already gone, repositioning for a second strike. This isn't science fiction. This is why the Navy just installed these weapons. But there's a problem. Hypersonic missiles are expensive. Each conventional prompt strike round costs tens of millions of dollars. Some estimates put it over $50 million per missile. The Zumwalt carries 12. That's $600 million in weapons. Fire them all, and you've spent almost as much as the ammunition would have cost for the original guns. Except this time, there's a difference. These missiles can win wars. The long-range land attack projectile could shell a beach. The hypersonic missile can sink an aircraft carrier, destroy a command bunker, eliminate a missile battery. The cost per target is astronomical, but the value per target makes it worth it. Sinking a Chinese aircraft carrier is worth $50 million. Destroying the command ship coordinating an invasion is worth $50 million. This is the math that justifies the cost. The Zumwalt went from failure to game changer because the Navy finally figured out what it was good for. Not shore bombardment, stealth strike, not cheap ammunition, unstoppable weapons, not mass production, surgical capability. 3 ships, 36 missiles, operating in the shadows. China spent decades building defenses against U.S. carriers. They never planned for this. A destroyer that doesn't show up on radar, missiles that can't be intercepted, weapons that strike before you know they're coming. $8 billion bought the U.S. Navy a weapon system China has no answer for. The failure just became the game changer, and the Zumwalt just became the most dangerous ship in the Pacific.